Good morning, everybody. All right, Brett Saburn, Bermo Incorporated, and we are a contract manufacturer. I think you need new batteries.
I'll take this one.
We got the other one back here.
Sorry about that, Brett.
That's all right. Might as well get the problems out of the way right away, right? Hello. As you work with your lean journey, you're going to walk through some of the same challenges. The things that you thought were going to work great just aren't going to work. The things that you might figure you're going to struggle with will be the ones that just go smoothly. But anyways, we are a contract manufacturer. I was just told the other day we have about 6,000 active part numbers. Our average lot size is anywhere from maybe 50 to 1,500 pieces. We get a lot of forecasts from a number of customers, but we have a good idea of what we'll be running next week, but not a great idea. And so I'd say we're kind of in between job shop and OEM. We're a strong, little bit higher volume contract manufacturer, but we really have no control over what we're going to run other than what we allow ourselves to quote. So I have struggled for years, for how to make lean work in our environment. Because as I talk to other contract manufacturers, I hear the same things. It can't work in our business. All we see is Toyota and all these other OEMs that run thousands of parts, same style, same strategy. Yes, there's some variation, but they're pretty much running the same thing every day. And so they can fine-tune their lines, they can fine-tune their cells, they can do their capacity planning and everything else. And we look at that as contract manufacturers and say, wow, are you guys lucky? And we focus on really three of the key strategies that Lean talks about: continuous flow, workload leveling, and pull systems. If you're not familiar with the word Kanban, pull systems. We look at those three concepts and we say, we can't do that. We just can't do that. I don't know how it's going to work. Well, the problem is we tend to focus on those because they are so big in the lean world. And we say, well, if we can't do those, we can't do lean. And I want to touch base on these three. The last three slides of this, we'll be talking about this a little bit more. We can do this, but these are kind of the three areas where it might be a little bit more of a challenge for us than the OEMs. But in reality, if you look at lean, I'd say 95% of the strategies in lean are the same for us as they are for everybody else. OEM, contract, job shop. Lean is all about keep learning and keep improving. Your people, your leadership, your processes, even your vendors and your customers. You just have that never-ending, relentless focus on no matter how good I am, I want to learn how to get even better. And that's what Toyota's free to tell you. They're like, we'll be glad to give you this information because you'll never catch us. Because no matter how good you get, if you get to where we are today, that was a long time ago. We're way beyond that. And if you just focus your efforts onto continuing to grow everything in your business, the people side, the process side, even your vendors, your customers, your partners, your equipment, look at all the concepts in lean, and they're about developing this and making it stronger. So we can do that. For right now, just forget about some of the few concepts that are a struggle for us. We can do all this just as easily as everybody else. So start learning it and trying to apply it. Secondly, some of the main lean strategies. Eliminate waste in your system, right? Find the waste and eliminate it. Think long term. Make decisions slowly. As high mix, low volume companies, we get really good at reacting fast. And the problem is we can take that culture into how we run our business. We have to be careful to get really good at reaction time for customer needs and demands. But when it comes to how we run our business, we should be making decisions slowly, learning, making sure we understand it, making sure it's qualified and reliable technology, and then implementing it quickly. But don't just knee-jerk jump through hoop. We're the We're the strategy of the month or strategy of the year club because, some new buzzword came along and we are on it because we know how to react. And Lean says that doesn't work. All it does is create more waste in your system. And so think long term, make decisions slowly. Stop to fix problems. That's another thing. We don't have time. We got to hurry up and get this out. Just get it done. It's not working, just get it done. Lean says you got to learn how to stop and fix that problem because it's probably not going to relate just to that one part that you might not ever run again. The problem that's there is there's a good chance that problem's going to crop up somewhere else. So figure out how to fix the problem right now and then let it spread throughout your organization so you're fixing things constantly, right? Create an army of problem solvers. You don't work through problems. You work to fix problems so you don't have those problems again. See the process for yourself. I've been in so many meetings where we sit in a conference room and try to solve the problem. Go out and see the problem. Lean concepts are so basic once we get them inbred into us. And they work for us the same as OEMs. Just learn them and go do them. Okay, and that's my first point, but that's not my premise this morning. What I really want to talk about is Lean is a toolbox. There's all these great tools out there that we can use. Go out there and learn them. There's all kinds of them that can affect your organization in a great way. But the problem I see in Lean for us and really everybody else is the tools that we're using don't always match the challenge that we have. I hate paying people to fix my car. And yet I hate working on cars. It's a bummer place to be. Some people like working on cars, not me. But I hate paying to have people fix them even worse. So I have tools and I fix my own car. And I got myself one of those fancy wrenches so you can get your serpentine belt off because it's really hard to get at. So I finally went out and got one the other day. And I haven't used it yet. Even though it's a really cool tool, I haven't used it. But I could go change my serpentine belt now. And it's like, yay! I got this cool tool and I want to go use it, right? And I have a socket set up there because everyone that does anything on cars better have a good set of sockets. And I can get this really cool socket set and I can go around and tighten every bolt on my car. And that's good, right? Loose bolts are bad on a vehicle. Loose nuts are bad. But if my problem is a flat tire, I don't need a socket set. I need a jack and a lug wrench. And my point this morning is we get out there and we learn Lean tools and we get excited about some of these Lean tools and we even start implementing Lean tools, but the problem is we don't even know what we're trying to fix in our organization. And until we know that we have a flat tire, we don't realize that we need the jack. Jacks are boring, okay? But it's what you might need. And that's where you need to start is grab the jack, get rid of that cool socket set, and let's get this thing off the ground, right? You like my car? I thought I'd throw a picture of my car in there. I wish I owned one of those. So what I want to do, in order to make sure you're using the right tools, you need to know what Vaughn implied. You need to know the end game. What are you trying to accomplish? All right? So I want to take a quick second, because they only give me a few minutes, but I'm going to give you a minute. I want you to turn to someone next to you, and maybe, depending on the size of your group, you might need to do one on both sides of you, if you don't have an even number at the table. But I want you to take 1 minute, and I want everyone to tell the person next to you how you would sum up Lean in 2 to 3 words. What is the definition of Lean? What are you trying to accomplish in the very end? What's your end game in Lean? Go, right now. I want a show of hands here. Let's play it safe so nobody's implicating themselves. If your neighbor told you something to the effect of eliminate waste, raise your hand. Over 50%. All right. What's another one? What's another one I hear all the time? Throw one out there. I can't read lips and I have horrible hearing. Culture? How about culture? Boy, Kirby, yours was a fail.
There was one guy in the back.
You really should work on your culture, okay, if you want to become a lean organization. Remember I said keep improving your people? It's culture. Give me one, yes.
Improve your communication.
Improve communications? Anybody say improve communications? Ah, I'm sorry. Small change for the better. Keep improving. Wow. I guess I'll just go back to eliminate waste. How many, raise your hands, how many's neighbor said something to the effect of reduce lead time? 1, 2, 2. I just made my point. Taiichi Ono, founder of TPS, said, all we're doing is looking at the timeline from the moment the customer gives us an order to the point when we collect the cash. And we are reducing that timeline by removing the non-value added wastes. We look at our lead time and we get rid of the waste within that lead time. That is the end goal. Now you can say, Brett, potato. He just said you remove the waste in the system. And if you remove the waste in the system, your lead time should reduce, right? Wrong. Yes, you're right, but it's like me tightening all the bolts on my car because I have a cool socket set. I got to get out the jack. Rajan Suri, who is the founder of QRM over at University of Madison, Wisconsin, said everyone knows that time is money, but time is actually a lot more money than most managers realize. Simon Nagoda, former Toyota VP of Supply Management, said time is the shadow of waste. How many people here struggle with how to do lean in their organization? Okay. How many people here think or know of right now opportunities where they could probably improve their lead time? If we quit focusing on lean and the tools of lean and start focusing on our lead time, then you go find the tools that will eliminate the waste in your lead time and apply them to the issue that you are having. And it might not even be in a lean book, but it's still a lean tool because you're accomplishing the end goal. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, where do you start? You start by mapping your process and figuring out where the waste is in your lead time. Where are you not adding value to what you are accomplishing? All right? And I don't care how you do it. Value stream mapping, super popular. It's great. It's also complicated. If you want to do that, do that. Spaghetti diagrams, whatever you want to do, but map your process. You say, well, I'm a supervisor in my department. You know, I can't really control where we're going, or I only have a control over this small piece of our organization. Well, map what you can control and then get rid of the waste affecting the lead time in your areas. I don't care what strategy you use, but you need to know where the waste is in your lead time so you can get rid of it. I personally prefer a simple timeline like it shows down here. Start to finish, non-value add, value add. And now I suddenly have a visual indicator. There's my biggest lead time waste right there. What on earth is causing that? Let's go fix that. And okay, well now maybe I want to go just map this process. And maybe I use a completely different map. All right? This is my favorite map, the QRM Center. They call this MCT mapping. They actually offer a spreadsheet. I don't know if you have to take their class or if you can just download it off their website. But they offer a spreadsheet with a bunch of macros where you type in all your lead times and it'll break it down by different function, each step in the operation, how much lead time there is and how much waste there is in that lead time. This is what I did when we first started doing this. This is our entire company from start to finish. So boom. I see inventory is one of our biggest issues with lead time. Well, I can't just go fix inventory. I got to fix the reason I have high inventory. Why do you have high inventory? Because we have long lead time. So what's my next opportunity to reduce my lead time? tool room or something like that. So now I'll go map the tool room, figure out where my wastes are in the tool room, find the tools that apply to the issues to reduce that lead time. Now you are working on becoming a lean company. Change your concept of how to become lean. I heard two things when I first got into lean. Do 5S. 5S works great, and it's really visual. People grab on. It helps with culture change. Do 5S, all right? And you're good to go, and that'll get you started. I had other people say map your process, but they didn't tell me why to map my process. And I've had people say, I wished I would have mapped my process. We did 5S for 2 years, and we didn't really do anything to our lead times. Was it good? Yes, but it was like tightening the bolts on my car. If we would have mapped our process and understood what we were really looking for, we would have had 2 years of successful lean transition rather than 2 years of improving our marketing tools, because 5S was more of a marketing tool for us than a lean thing. So map your process, eliminate the waste in your lead time. That's the main thing I want to get across today, all right? So I've got a few more minutes, so I will share back to those first 3 things that we all struggle with. How do you create continuous flow in our environment? Well, the first thing you should do is a relentless focus on setup reduction. We tend to, if you do have repeat jobs of the same part, we tend to build larger lot sizes than what we need because our setup times are high. Your goal should be single minute exchange of die, just like Toyota says. Get your setup time down as much as possible so you can reduce your lot sizes as much as possible, and then you can react as quickly as possible, and you're not making product that's just sitting on the shelf as inventory, which is the worst waste to have in your system. Second thing is to flow parts. We always talk cells, and so many of us struggle with cells. How many of you realize that you're all intimately related, or you have intimate experience with cells? Did you realize that? Every one of you here knows cells way better than you think. You just don't realize it. Because we think of cells as this perfect flow of one piece at a time through this perfect cell. And it's a beautiful thing. In our type of environment, a cell might not be like that. In our type of environment, a cell is putting all the resources we need in one place, making them available so when I have a need, I can bring it to my cell and I can grab the tools, the equipment that I need, and I can get it done. And most of us do it every day in our kitchen. And if you're like me and you go out and fix your car even when you don't want to, you got a cell in your garage. You have all these tools that you might not even hardly ever use. How many of you have a $500 mixer, because it's really nice and really cool in your kitchen that you use once a year, right? Same thing, capacity planning in our organization. Well, we can't afford that. Can you afford not to have that? Because when you need it, it's available. I'm getting ahead of myself. Excess capacity. I guess I wasn't getting ahead of myself. Too often we're trying to run a level plant, which means we have just enough people, just enough equipment to get the work out. And that means as soon as there's any anomaly in the system, the whole thing backs up. Who thinks we have a capacity issue here with our road systems? Yeah, anyone that drives in morning traffic thinks we have a capacity issue. I had a guy at work say we don't have a capacity issue at Bermo because by January we're always caught up. Our business goes up and down. January, we're usually all caught up. Well, that's like saying we don't have a capacity issue with our road systems because at 2 a.m. I can fly right through. Well, I'm not trying to get to work at 2 a.m. That's the problem. So at 7:30, 8:30 in the morning, we have a capacity issue. It needs to be addressed. It's the same way in our business. And finally, before I run out of time, Kanban or pull systems. We get stuck on that because we might not make product that we can have sitting there waiting that we can now pull out. Think of Kanban systems or pull systems in terms of time and space. I've got a cell here, I've got a machine here, especially if it's a bottleneck. I don't want to jam it full of parts and just let it build up this huge queue because that creates waste. So I'm gonna block out a space here that'll maybe be 6 pallets worth or 4 carts worth or whatever. And if there's a space available there, you can fill it. Now, I'm not going to start making these parts until I know they can flow into the next operation. And if I'm constantly have a bottleneck there, I need to go back to my capacity planning and try to improve my capacity so I can react to my customer, so I can reduce my lead time. Anyways, I'm out of time, and I hope that gave you some aha moments. Thank you so much.